wow! Just wow! Now that's a sight you don't see every day. We're back on old Route 66. Hello! Welcome everyone to Rancho Cucamonga and the historic Route 66 Cucamonga service station. Look at that. It is so cool to start the day with an ultimate amazing success story. This is not a replica. This is a relic of a bygone era in American history. This gas station and one-time garage was built in 1915 by a guy by the name of Henry Klusman? Maybe Klusman? I'm not always the best at pronunciation, but I'm gonna go with Klusman because it just sounds the most fun. Like many other auto garages and gas stations and service stations along old Route 66, it became outdated in the middle of the 20th century, and by 1971 it was closed, turned into a series of random shops, and eventually abandoned. For decades, this little service station here was very run down, dilapidated, really an eyesore that people just wanted to get rid of. Just bulldoze it, darn it! Of course, plenty of people wanted to purchase the station and restore it to its former Route 66 glory, but they couldn't strike a deal with the property owners, which was a billboard company using this lot for storage. They were too late to save the service station itself back there, the garage for this little gas station. You can see it in old historical photos just to the right of the gas station that still exists here. Eventually, a lack of upkeep and the elements of just being abandoned back there led to the garage's collapse sometime, I think, in the early 2000s. Luckily, some local history buffs would not give up on purchasing this historic gas station so that it didn't have the same fate as the garage behind it. And in 2015, 100 years after first opening up here along the side of Route 66, the Richfield Cucamonga service station was reopened by the Route 66 Inland Empire California Association. I think I'm getting that right, the IECA. This is actually the first time that I've ever noticed or seen this service station. I have driven down this stretch of Foothill Boulevard or Route 66 before through Rancho Cucamonga, but I've never noticed this building. Golly, would you look at that. They really did a bang up job. Check these out here. These are old visible gas pumps, and they're called visible gas pumps because you could see exactly how much gas was coming out of that tank there and into the tank of your automobile. You had to worry about getting ripped off back in the day, and these visible gas pumps helped the customer feel assured. After all, gas was 13 8/10 cents per gallon. Jeez, you gotta watch your money there. I wish I could find some gas for 18 cents, including tax. Wow, and look at these old cans here for a lube job. Look at that, what is that, an air hose over there? This is one of those stations that would harken back to a time where little uniformed men would come out and pump your gas for you, maybe wash off your windshield, perhaps even top off your oil. Look at these cans. He hates these cans. Stay away from the cans. Look at that. Route 66 once again passing in front of some historic gas pumps here at the Cucamonga service station. They even managed to get an old Richfield sign back on top of this little bad boy, although they did have to lower it a few feet because for a while it was blocking that billboard up there. And I think that part of the deal with getting the land was they had to make a deal with the billboard company. Like, you can still leave your billboard here. We won't get in the way of your billboard business. That's some pretty creative thinking right there. Look at that. A Route 66 success story. A 1915, 102-year-old service station restored to its former glory. And from what I understand, eventually they're also going to build a replica of the original garage here you can park your car inside of and get a fun pic. Check it out. Here's their website here where you can buy a brick with your name on it. I might have to do that. And there's some more information about the historic restoration preservation obligation. They really want to involve the whole local community. So there's the website right there. Look at these associations, stuff like this. These are what allow history to be preserved along the Mother Road. I can't wait to see what it looks like once they restore the service garage back here. That is one impressive project. And luckily enough, for once I happened to stop by one of these places when the gift shop was open. Ooh. Hi. Had to come grab the brochure for getting my own brick. Look, a pin. That's a great map. So far I've only done just this little line. a lot more line left to go. It's not just a gift shop space in there, they also have a pretty awesome little miniature museum showcasing a lot of old Richfield oil artifacts that, I gotta be honest with you, I never knew that much about Richfield oil. Pretty freaking awesome, and I did pick up some pins and a book because places like this rely on the support of the people who enjoy them, just like these videos. Now check this out, notice the shape of the little archway, the roof here, and these two columns in front of the old Cucamonga service station. And you'll notice that their new neighbors are using a very similar theme for their little strip mall thing they're building here. How cool is it that a gas station built in 1915 is still influencing this city 100 years later? And that's not all. Not only is the new strip mall influenced by the Cucamonga service station, but so is the McDonald's across the street. Dude, Rancho Cucamonga is not screwing around when it comes to their Route 66 history. This, I think, is especially cool, that even a big chain like McDonald's can have some local influence in its design and construction. This pleases me.
Mr. Big is pleased.
All right, now we gotta make tracks here. You can see there's still a lot of historic structures along Route 66 over here. Today I'm only doing a short stretch of the road because today is a significant day because it's the last night I'll actually be able to sleep in my own bed. And then tomorrow morning the pace is going to be picked up significantly as I move along old Route 66. But there's a couple of things I really wanted to see today. For example, good old Bono's Deli here in Fontana. Yes, that would be Bono as in like Sunny Bono. This place is a real part of Route 66. Been here since 1936 as a matter of fact. And I know they've been having all kinds of problems with the city in getting this place reopened. But judging from the brand new parking lot, and of course from this sign over here, seems like things might be picking up. Maybe it'll be open again soon. The 1930s deli is not the only reason to pull off of Route 66 here, however, because Bono's also has this. It's a gargantuan orange! Would you look at the size of that orange? I'm still pretty young, but luckily I'm just old enough to remember when there were way more orange groves down here in Southern California. But even when I was a kid, there weren't many left. At one time, back in my mom's day, and my grandparents who came via Route 66 to move to California, back then when they all got here, this was all farmland as far as the eye could see. Old Man Orange owned all of this. Orange groves were everywhere, and all over Southern California you could find orange juice stands like this. Pretty simple idea, really, and you can still find giant oranges like this in Florida. I think there's still one or two of these left in Southern California, but I believe that this is the last giant orange juice stand on Route 66. Now, as you can see from down below, Bono's had this giant historic orange moved here. This wasn't its original location. I'm actually not sure the original location was along Route 66. Probably was, but even if it wasn't, this is a classic example of something that used to dot the highway in Southern California. Giant lemons, giant oranges, whatever you could do. I'm not the biggest fan of orange juice in the entire world, especially if it has pulp. Ugh. But I gotta tell you guys, this orange is making me thirsty. I could really go for some Sunny D right about now. Hello? I'd like an orange juice, please. Hello? Anyone in there? I'm thirsty. I need some vitamin C! That is pretty amazing. A giant, gargantuan orange right here in Fontana, California. I was just thinking, I have a great-great-grandma named Marianina Bono. I wonder if there's any relation there. Now, Fontana appears to be a gold mine when it comes to old Route 66 motels and motor courts and old 50s architecture. You can see old buildings and old signage pretty much everywhere you look. People who like photographing rundown or half-abandoned old Route 66 structures would definitely love Fontana. I should say, actually, that Route 66 doesn't go through exactly the best neighborhoods from this point out. But I think, honestly, out here, Fontana, San Bernardino, there's a lot of potential for restoration and preservation. With a little dedication, this place could be quite the destination. And speaking of potential, right here when you cross into Rialto, is a Route 66 must. Up until pretty recently, it was called Jim's Burgers. Now it appears to be Chris's Burgers. But at one point in time, this little burger place on the side of Route 66 was a Burger Chef location. Now you would be forgiven for never having heard of Burger Chef, but at one time, it was a massive fast food chain. Second, I think, only to McDonald's. So never quite as big or iconic as McDonald's, but I guess you could say it was the Burger King of its day. Burger Chef. Now this location looks a lot like its former Burger Chef self, but not because it was preserved that way, but because this particular one was a filming location for the TV show Mad Men, which is probably where most people my age and down heard of Burger Chef in the first place. Remember Peggy Olson, Don Draper working on that Burger Chef account? Don's trying to work his way back up through his own company. Well, this was the place where the Mad Men people restored an original old school Burger Chef, and right there, that right there is the booth where Don Draper and Peggy Olson were sitting right there. Now, if you're a fan of old Route 66, you're a fan of the 1950s and especially the 1960s, obviously, you probably loved Mad Men. It was a pretty dramatic show, but it was a great tone poem as well. For me and others like me who love that mid-century imagery, Mad Men was probably one of the greatest shows of a generation. And now I can step inside the world of Mad Men. How freaking epic is that? And look at this. I snagged the best seat in the house. Based on this picture here, I am sitting in John Hamm's seat. I'm having a Mad Men Pepsi. Always surreal to sit somewhere where your favorite TV shows were filmed. It's so awesome that a place like this survives at all, much less gets a historic makeover because it was used in a TV show. That's pretty cool. And of course I can't come to Rialto without mentioning another roadside wonder. Right across the city limits in San Bernardino, the Wigwam Motel, or the Wigwam Village Number 7, very historic. I won't be stopping in there today, it's kind of a long story. But these won't be the last teepees we'll see on Route 66. Don't you worry about that. There's actually tons of old Route 66 structures in San Bernardino. Some have obviously fared better than others. But San Bernardino is one of the oldest towns in Southern California. A lot of history here, and remember what I was saying about potential for restoration and creativity? Well, when it comes to Route 66, San Bernardino has got those in spades, thanks largely to one guy, the owner of One Pollo Chicken. The owner of this small restaurant chain, Mr. Albert Okura, is a big fan of Route 66. He's helped to preserve many of the landmarks, and he also opened this little Route 66 museum inside of one of his locations. When's the last time you went into a fast food chicken place? Quite like this, huh? Dude, what a fun one. This place is part restaurant, part amusement park, and my favorite part, part museum. Oh, heck yeah. Look at all of this. This is one of the most amazing, most eclectic collections of local history and Route 66 memorabilia I have ever seen anywhere. Old postcards, all local. Old photographs. Look at this old-timey soda fountain that used to be in town. The whole history of the local part of Route 66 is right here. Look at this, old brochures, tips to travelers on US 66. TV guide with the Route 66 TV show cover. Tons of old license plates. Look at more brochures up there. Part of what made 66 so legendary was that it was very well advertised. And all this is mixed in with some very interesting others. Look at this rad old jukebox here. An old leaded gas pump. Weird. Oh, and check out this old Coke freezer. Serve yourself. Please pay the clerk. Dang. An honor system Coke machine. Guessing that Mr. Okura is a fan of Looney Tunes. Look at this here. Taz and Sylvester and Daffy Duck. Some of these One Pollo mascots here. Dang, they even have Zach Morris's cell phone. But these are really interesting. Look at this. Here's a 1918 gas pump. A manual cranked pump. One of the earliest in California, the sign says. Look at that. I never knew you had to crank gas pumps before. Speaking of pumps, look at this. A motor oil dispenser that you had to pump yourself. That's pretty wild. Ooh, and another oil pump here. Dude, this place is pretty big considering. These are all old, legit signs from places off of Route 66 in the local area. Look at this one though. That one's from Kansas. Right here, Essex. This is in San Bernardino County. Not far from here, really. Way out in the desert. Look at that. That's a 1940 sign. Even back then, the population was only 150 people. I'm honestly not sure anyone lives out there now. Old water bags. You used to have to keep water in these canvas sacks to refill your radiator. Lots of really great historical photos over here. Oh, and another one of these terrifying, creepy cloth mannequins. Check this out, look at this. A nickel Pepsi machine. This is actually embossed, so even though it's obviously been restored or repainted, this is an original 5-cent Pepsi machine. You hardly ever see Pepsi. You usually see Coke. That's pretty freaking cool. There are a lot of strange, small Route 66 museums located along the Mother Road, but not many of them are located inside of a fast food restaurant, and none of them are quite like this. Look at this giant 66 stencil. The owner of this place and the people who help him use these stencils to mark sections of the old Mother Road. See, where there isn't any government help, there's no money. Like even when they can't get, the local authorities behind them, these people go out and do it DIY style. No Route 66 museum in San Bernardino? We'll make our own. No Route 66 markers along the highway? The government doesn't have enough money to stick any signs along the road? We'll do this ourselves. I think that's kind of why I like Route 66. It's like a punk rock road, DIY. Actually, I gotta walk something back real quick. You know how I said there's no museum quite like that one in there? That is actually false. I know of at least one other museum that's exactly like that. But to see it, we're gonna have to go to Juan Pollo's corporate headquarters. Just a few blocks down, you'll run into old downtown San Bernardino, where we actually have to hook left to follow Route 66 northwards on its journey out of Southern California. But before we finally depart the Southland, we've got to make one more stop and pay homage to a classic Route 66 location, the site of the original McDonald's. You remember yesterday I showed you where Dick and Mac McDonald had their restaurant, the Airdrome. Well, this is where, after they sawed it in half and moved it down 66, they set up shop, invented their speedy system, and created McDonald's hamburgers right here. A Route 66 right there. A McDonald's right here. Check it out. This mural right here depicts what the original place used to look like. I've been here on numerous occasions and done multiple videos here. They just can't seem to get rid of me. So I guess there's no reason for me to go over the entire history again, but this is the first time I've been back here since I watched the movie The Founder, so it is pretty interesting. It's a movie, by the way, that I highly, very strongly recommend you watch. Look at this. This is a great sign. Not only is it free admission, cameras welcome. Look at, yes, YouTube, wherever. People who do this deserve to be supported. Look at the size of this museum. This place keeps getting better every single time I come in here. Check it out, an old original McDonald's barbecue menu from before it was McDonald's hamburgers. Look at this. Their custom ketchup and mustard dispenser. I can't even eat McDonald's anymore because of the celiacness. But I was a kid once. I love McDonald's. This place is pretty fascinating. Check it out right here. There's one of the original multi-mixers. That's what Ray Kroc was selling to these guys. Oh, look at this. Here's some stuff from the movie. Another multi-mixer. Right there. This thing was the beginning of the end for the McDonald's brothers, but the beginning of the beginning for Ray Kroc. That is pretty stinking awesome right there. This place just keeps getting better and better and better. Check out in the back. They have a lot of old Route 66 stuff in here as well, although I think most of it has moved over to that other museum. So many Happy Meal toys. How cool is all of that? And let's not forget the evil Grimace. Very few people know that Grimace was introduced to be the bad guy in Ronald McDonald Land. Those fries must have turned his life around, huh? I have the weirdest feeling that he's looking. I can't do it. He's so scary. He's still looking at me, isn't he? Well, look at this. They have a lot more Coca-Cola stuff than I remember seeing last time. Look at that. Old 10-cent machines, old Coke bottle things, some vintage gas pumps, and diner equipment. This is a later building that was built after the original McDonald's was demolished. But the Juan Pollo corporate offices are now in there, and they've basically donated the rest of this space, or dedicated, I should say, to this free museum, which also contains plenty of my friend Julio's relatives. I haven't seen Julio in a while. Keep expecting him to pop up at any time. Okay, I know, we've been here before. You've seen this already. You can watch my other 2 videos and get more of the history and see more of the McDonald's stuff. But I feel like I've really neglected the outside stuff the last couple of visits, especially the massive mural on the outside of the building. If you cruise around past the Murdery Clown and past the original McDonald's here, around the corner of the building on 14th Street over here, it turns into almost like a Where's Waldo painting. Hey, that's funny. Where's Waldo? Because it's painted on a wall? Maybe there's something there. I don't know. We'll work on that one later. But look at the size of this mural. It's all dedicated to California's Route 66 and bills itself as the world's most detailed mural. Of this size, I think they could possibly be correct. This could be a contender, I tell ya. If you start from the extreme left side here, you'll see the end of the trail sign, the old Santa Monica Pier where we were the other day, and then it cruises all the way through Hollywood, downtown Los Angeles. Just so much detail on here. Past Southern California in general, check that out. There's the Queen Mary over there. Disneyland would be somewhere ish. And then you've got all kinds of sites that we've seen along Route 66 so far. Look at, there's Bono's right there, the Wigwam Motel, which looks like it's being abducted by aliens. That's weird. Site of the original McDonald's right there, and then it keeps going along our future path out towards Barstow and out into the California desert. It's kind of cool because it has all these little historical facts along the way. Like, did you know the voice of Bugs Bunny lived in Big Bear? Look at that, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, 1968. Then there's just all kinds of fun stuff over here. Paintings of old movie cars, like look at the Mystery Machine there. And even a tribute to that old hot rodder Ed Barris, who created, among other things, the original 1966 Batmobile. How cool is that? And look at that, there's the SS1 Pollo, which last time I was here was parked right around the back, but doesn't seem to be here today. She must have sailed for better seas. Look at that, the first of many style cars we're gonna see on this road. But definitely not the last, not even the last in this parking lot. Because look at this, the one Pollo version of the Mystery Machine. And check that out, it's got a little baby Mystery Machine on top. You guys, this place rules. Bob the Builder, giant hamburgers, even the biggest wiener I've ever seen. This place has got it all, eh, Bugs? And it's not just the site of the original McDonald's here on the property. I've never really noticed it before, but there's also a military museum. Well, to be fair, I've noticed it before, I've just never gone inside. The sign says open, but it doesn't look so open. Maybe here around the back. Nope. Locked. Hello? Yes. Get me Mayor McCheese. Wow, no such luck. Turns out that Mayor McCheese isn't in office anymore. The good news is, gives me an excuse to come back here again to one of my favorite places. Rabble, rabble. Okay. Back on the road. Now, that old original McDonald's would have been on what was kind of the business loop version of Route 66, but to rejoin the main road, we'll actually have to get on the interstate a little bit and go northwards. Because from here on out, there are a lot of portions of old Route 66 where the actual modern interstate sits right on top of the original road. It can be a little confusing and a little daunting as to what is and isn't historic Route 66. I try not to fall into the trap of being too rigid about it. But whichever way you choose to drive, one thing's for sure, once you leave San Bernardino, you've really left Southern California, and now you're headed up into the mountains and away from these beautiful coastal valleys. Goodbye, San Bernardino. We're headed up into the Cajon Pass. The Cajon Pass is still the main artery into and out of the LA area from all points east. Now in this area, Route 66 not only changed courses a whole bunch of times, but so have the interstates crisscrossing over old Route 66 and cutting off old portions and building top of others. It can be quite confusing, but if you know where to look, you'll find some pretty cool stuff out here. Feast your eyes on this. Look at that. The modern interstate is up there along the hill. Here's a modern section of road that goes over old Route 66, and we are standing on a completely abandoned segment. Look at this. Now in the 1950s, Route 66 became a divided highway, 2 lanes on this side and 2 lanes on this side. But of course, with the modern interstate, they didn't need 2 sides of this road anymore. This is just a little bypass road now. So now the old southbound lanes are used for north and southbound traffic, and the old northbound lanes are completely abandoned. Which means we got a whole chunk of old original Route 66 all to ourselves. I got a whole chunk to myself. I got a whole dang chunk to myself. Hey! Now that is how you get your kicks on Route 66. Look at that. Up there, all those interstate highway drivers heading up to Las Vegas. Who knows what these people are doing down here? But we're gonna follow some of them and take this old section of Route 66 up through the Cajon Pass into the California desert. Route 66, baby! This adventure's about to go up a notch! Make sure to check out all the links down below in the description if you want to support the video. Tons of other videos on this channel to check out, and if you're subscribed, you'll see more adventures very, very soon. Tons of other videos on this channel to check out, as well as you could subscribe and stay current as part of the adventure. All right, gang, it's time for me to go, but I'll see you guys a little further on down the road. Bye-bye! Wait just a minute. It'll be a lot faster if I drive. Let's drive. Looks like we're gonna have to get on the interstate. We run out of road. Wait a minute, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Oh no, wait, that's not true. We need roads. We need them.